The day he realized her worth. A Novella Moon story. Moral. People often appreciate your value only after they lose you. The first time Ethan realized how much Lily meant to him. She was no longer waiting for him. She was sitting across a small cafe, laughing with someone else. Not because she wanted to make him jealous. Not because she wanted revenge. But because, for the first time in years, she was genuinely happy. Ethan stood outside the window and watched her. He wanted to walk inside. He wanted to say her name. He wanted to tell her that he had changed. But then he noticed something that hurt more than anything else. Lily wasn't looking at the door. She wasn't waiting for him anymore. And suddenly, Ethan understood the cruelest truth of all. Sometimes you don't realize someone's value when they're beside you. You realize it when their absence becomes louder than their presence ever was. 7 years earlier, Ethan and Lily had met on a rainy afternoon. Lily was standing outside a bookstore, desperately trying to protect a stack of books from the rain. One slipped from her hands. Ethan caught it. "You almost lost this one." Lily looked at the book and smiled. "That's my favorite." "Then you should probably hold it tighter." She laughed. "I was trying." Ethan smiled. "I can see that. That was how it started. A dropped book, a rainy afternoon, and a conversation that lasted nearly 3 hours. Lily was warm, thoughtful and endlessly patient. She remembered small things. Ethan's favorite coffee. The name of his childhood dog. The song his mother used to play when he was young. The fact that he hated hospitals. The fact that he became quiet whenever something was bothering him. She noticed everything. And Ethan loved being noticed. Within a year, they were inseparable. Lily believed Ethan was the person she would grow old with. And Ethan believed Lily would always be there. That was his first mistake. He confused her loyalty with permanence. After they got married, life became busy. Ethan started working longer hours. His career took off. His phone was always ringing. His schedule was always full. And Lily slowly became the person waiting for him at home. At first, she didn't complain. When Ethan came home late, she kept dinner warm. When he had a difficult day, she listened. When he forgot their anniversary, she told him it was okay. When he missed her birthday dinner because of work, she smiled and said, "It's fine. We'll celebrate another day." And Ethan believed her. Because Lily always said it was fine. One evening, Lily was sitting at the kitchen table. She had prepared Ethan's favorite meal. The candles were lit. 2 glasses of wine were waiting. It was their 5th anniversary. She checked her phone. 8 p.m. Then 9 o'clock. Then 10:30. At 11:17, the front door finally opened. Ethan walked inside, exhausted. "Hey." Lily stood up. "Happy anniversary." He froze. He looked at the table. "Oh, Lily, I know you're busy. I completely forgot." She smiled. "I know. I'm sorry. It's okay." He kissed her forehead. "I'll make it up to you." Lily nodded. She blew out the candles. Ethan went upstairs. And Lily sat alone at the table. That night, she learned something she would never forget. Being loved wasn't the same as being remembered. Months passed. Lily began trying harder. She thought maybe Ethan was stressed. Maybe he needed more support. Maybe she wasn't doing enough. So she started preparing his clothes before work. She packed his lunch. She organized his appointments. She even helped with his business presentations. One morning, she stayed up until 3 a.m. helping him prepare an important presentation. The next morning, Ethan presented it to his boss. He got the promotion. He came home smiling. "We did it." Lily smiled. "I'm so proud of you." He hugged her. But when his friends called to celebrate, he left almost immediately. "Don't wait up." Lily stood at the door. "Okay." The door closed. And she whispered to herself, One day he'll notice. But one day never came. Instead, Ethan became busier. And Lily became quieter. She stopped asking him to spend time with her. Stopped telling him about her day. Stopped asking him to notice the little things. She started having dinner alone. She started going to bed alone. And eventually, she stopped expecting anything. That was when Ethan thought everything was finally peaceful. He didn't realize that silence wasn't peace. Sometimes silence means someone has stopped hoping. One Saturday morning, Lily came downstairs holding a small envelope. Ethan, I got accepted. He looked up from his laptop. Accepted for what? The art program. Ethan stared at her. What art program? The one I told you about. He frowned. I don't remember. I mentioned it a few times. When is it? Next month. For how long? 6 months. Ethan laughed. You're not seriously thinking about going. Lily's smile disappeared. Why not? Because we have responsibilities. I know. And what about the house? We can manage. Lily, this isn't realistic. She looked at him. It's something I've wanted to do for years. And now you're suddenly going to leave everything. She was silent. Then she asked quietly, did you ever ask what I wanted? Ethan didn't answer. Because he hadn't. Not really. He knew what he wanted. He just assumed Lily wanted the same thing. That night, Lily went into the bedroom and opened an old box. Inside were her paintings. Dozens of them. Some were beautiful. Some were unfinished. Some were painted before she met Ethan. She looked at them for a long time. Then she found an old photograph. It was taken 7 years earlier. She and Ethan were sitting outside the bookstore where they had first met. They were laughing. Ethan was looking at her like she was the only person in the world. Lily touched the photograph. When did you stop looking at me like that? She didn't know. Maybe he had. Maybe she had simply stopped noticing. A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. Lily's mother became seriously ill. Lily left town to take care of her. She called Ethan before leaving. I might be gone for a few weeks. Okay. My mom needs me. I understand. Ethan. Yeah. I need you right now. There was a pause. I'll come when I can. When you can. Lily, I have a huge meeting tomorrow. She closed her eyes. Right. I'll call you later. He didn't. 3 days passed. Then 5. Then 10. Lily stopped waiting. Her mother recovered slowly. And during those weeks, Lily had time to think. She thought about the years she had spent waiting. Waiting for dinner. Waiting for phone calls. Waiting for birthdays. Waiting for apologies. Waiting for Ethan to notice her. And finally, she asked herself a question she had been avoiding for years. If I stop waiting, what happens? The answer frightened her. But it also gave her peace. When Lily returned home, Ethan barely looked up from his laptop. You're back. Yes. How's your mother? Better. Good. Lily placed her suitcase down. Then she sat across from him. We need to talk. Ethan sighed. About what? Us. He closed his laptop. What now? Lily looked at him. Do you still love me? Ethan stared at her. Of course I do. Then why don't I feel loved? He became defensive. I work hard for this family. I know. I provide everything. I know. What more do you want? Lily's eyes filled with tears. I wanted you. Silence. I wanted your time. Your attention. Your presence. I wanted you to know. When I was hurting without me having to beg you to notice. Ethan looked away. You're making this bigger than it is. And something inside Lily finally became still. She nodded. Okay. What? Nothing. She stood up. That night, she began packing. Ethan thought she was bluffing. He had seen Lily upset before. He assumed she'd calm down. He assumed she'd forgive him. He assumed she'd come back. Because she always had. The next morning, He woke up to an empty room. Lily had left. On the kitchen table was a single envelope. Inside was a letter. Ethan read it slowly. Ethan, I don't hate you. That's the hardest part. I spent years trying to make you see me. I thought if I loved you enough, supported you enough, forgave you enough, and asked for less, you'd eventually appreciate what we had. But I was wrong. I don't want to spend the rest of my life convincing someone that I'm worth noticing. You may realize my value one day. But I hope by then, I have already realized mine. Ethan read the letter twice. Then a third time. For the first time in years, the house felt enormous. And empty. The first week without Lily was strange. The second was worse. There was no coffee waiting in the morning. No lunch packed for him. No reminder about his meetings. No message asking if he had eaten. No one waiting at the door. At first, Ethan was annoyed. Then he became angry. Then he became lonely. And finally, he began remembering. He remembered how Lily used to wait up when he came home late. He remembered how she laughed at his terrible jokes. He remembered how she helped him prepare for the promotion. He remembered the anniversary dinner. The candles. The untouched food. Her smile when she said, "It's okay." He suddenly realized it had never been okay. She had simply loved him enough to pretend. Months passed. Ethan tried calling. Lily didn't answer. He sent messages. She replied politely. He asked to meet. She refused. Then one day, Ethan heard something from an old friend. "Lily's doing really well." "What do you mean?" "She opened an art studio." Ethan was stunned. "When?" "A few months ago." "Is she happy?" His friend smiled. "Very." That word stayed with him. Very. Ethan went home that night and searched for her studio online. There she was, standing beside a wall covered in paintings. She looked different. Not because she had changed her appearance. Because she looked alive. There was light in her eyes again. Ethan stared at the photograph for a long time. Then he whispered, "I did that." But the truth was harder. He hadn't destroyed her. He had simply failed to value her. And she had finally stopped allowing him to. 6 months later, Ethan saw Lily again. It was at a mutual friend's wedding. She walked into the room wearing a simple blue dress. Ethan's heart stopped. She looked beautiful. But what struck him most was her smile. She wasn't pretending anymore. Their eyes met. For a moment, neither moved. Then Lily smiled politely. "Hi, Ethan." "Hi. How are you?" "I'm okay." She nodded. "Good." He wanted to say so much. "I miss you." "I'm sorry." "I finally understand." But somehow, none of those words felt big enough. Finally he said, "Can we talk?" Lily looked at him. "About what?" "About us." She was quiet. Then she said, "There is no us anymore." The words hurt. But Ethan knew he had earned them. "I know." He looked down. "I just wanted you to know that I finally understand." "Understand what?" "What I lost." Lily smiled sadly. "You didn't lose me when I left." Ethan looked at her. "You lost me much earlier." "When?" "When you stopped seeing me while I was still standing beside you." He had no answer. Because she was right. A few months later, Ethan received an invitation. It was for Lily's art exhibition. He almost didn't go. But he did. The gallery was full. People were standing around Lily's paintings, talking about them. One painting caught his attention. It showed a woman sitting alone at a dinner table. 2 candles were burning. One chair was empty. Ethan stared at it. The title was, "The Things We Notice Too Late." He felt tears in his eyes. Lily walked over. "You came." "Yes. I wasn't sure you would." "Neither was I." They stood quietly. Finally Ethan said, "That painting. I know. Is it about me?" Lily looked at the painting. "It used to be." "Used to be." She smiled. "Now it's about me." Ethan didn't understand. Lily continued. It reminds me of the woman I was. The woman who kept waiting for someone else to realize her worth. She looked at him. I don't wait anymore. Ethan nodded. For the first time, he wasn't trying to convince her to stay. He wasn't asking for another chance. He simply said, I'm glad you're happy. And he meant it. Years later, Ethan sometimes thought about Lily. Not with anger. Not even with regret. But with gratitude. Because losing her had taught him something no one else could. People don't always appreciate what they have while they have it. Sometimes they become so comfortable with someone's love that they stop noticing the effort behind it. They notice the warm coffee. But not the person waking up early to make it. They notice the clean house. But not the tired hands that keep it that way. They notice the smile. But not the tears hidden behind it. They notice someone's presence only after the room becomes empty. And by then, it may be too late. One evening, Ethan walked past the old bookstore where he had first met Lily. It was raining, exactly like that first day. He stood beneath the same streetlight. For a moment, he could almost see them again. A young woman holding a stack of books. A young man catching one before it fell. A beginning. A promise. A love that could have lasted. But some stories don't end because love disappears. Some stories end because one person keeps giving, while the other keeps taking. Ethan smiled sadly. Then he walked away. And somewhere across the city, Lily was sitting in her studio, painting beneath a warm yellow lamp. She no longer wondered whether she was enough. She no longer waited to be chosen. She had learned the most important lesson of her life. You shouldn't have to disappear for someone to realize how valuable you were. And if someone only appreciates your presence after you've left, sometimes leaving was exactly what taught them your worth. The moral: people often appreciate your value only after they lose you. Don't wait until someone is gone to tell them what they mean to you. Appreciate the people who stand beside you while life is ordinary. Notice the small things. Say thank you. Make time. Listen. Because one day, the person who always answered your calls may stop answering. The person who always waited for you may stop waiting. The person who always chose you may finally choose themselves. And when that day comes, regret won't bring them back. Appreciate people while they're still there. Because sometimes, you don't realize what you had until you realize you'll never have it again. The end. Crescent Moon Novella Moon, where every story leaves a mark.